Did you hear a snap or something? Did you hear it snap?
Like a crack?
Did you hear it pop?
Well, sort of.
So you know your son did that in January. You lied. You told him to tell a lie to DCF, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you told him to lie. You lied.
At 4:30 p.m. on March 14th, 2011, 2-year-old David Galarraga was rushed into St. Luke's Hospital in Jacksonville, Florida. His tiny body was limp, his skin cold, and his pulse barely detectable. Medical professionals scrambled to save him, but no one could answer the most pressing question: what had happened to this child? His mother, Bianella Susana, had been at home with him for hours before calling for help. But instead of rushing her son to the hospital when she first saw he was injured, she chose to wait. She went online, downloaded music, and continued on as if nothing urgent had happened. And as the doctors worked to assess the extent of his injuries, the true cause of David's condition remained a mystery. His mother's story was filled with lies and cover-ups. But the truth came from the most unlikely source: David's 12-year-old brother, Cristian.
By the head and smacked twice into the bookshelf.
His words would unravel a tragedy far deeper than anyone could have imagined. But before we continue, if you enjoy this kind of content, liking, subscribing really helps the channel grow. I'd also like to hear your thoughts on this case, and let me know where you're watching from. This video is created strictly for educational and documentary purposes. It does not glorify or condone the actions discussed. Viewer discretion is advised. The morning of March 14th, 2011, began like many others inside the small Jacksonville apartment. Cristian Fernandez, only 12 years old, was once again left in charge of his younger siblings, including 2-year-old David Galarraga. Bianella Susana was not present in the apartment during the early hours, and later, even her own accounts could not clearly explain where she had gone or how long she had been away. Inside the bedroom shared by the children, Cristian and David were together with no adults watching them, and soon enough, David would be rushed to the hospital with severe head injuries and would be placed on life support. But as for what happened in the house, the version of the story changed depending on who was speaking and when they were asked.
So, tell me a little bit about tonight. I understand that, were you home when this incident happened? What time did all this occur?
A little bit after 4.
After 4? Okay. And who was home when this happened?
Everybody was home.
How long after did you know about the incident?
When he called me.
Okay, when he called you? On the phone?
No, in the house.
So, Bianella claimed that she was in the house when the incident happened.
So, when did you immediately run in there?
Mm-hmm.
And what'd you say?
He did, so I and put like some ice on stuff.
At first, Bianella told hospital staff that David had fallen from a bunk bed while Cristian was distracted. She said the ladder shifted, David lost his balance and hit the floor. It sounded accidental and almost ordinary. But as investigators listened more closely, the story began to unravel.
And tonight, you guys were in your room, just you and David?
Yeah.
Was your other brother and sister in there?
Mm-hmm.
So all y'all were in
No,
there?
I think it was just me and him too.
Just y'all two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was your mom doing when this happened?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'm driving.
Was she home or no?
I'm not sure where she was.
Obviously, one or both of them is not telling the truth. When police asked Bianella where she was at the time, first she said she was in the kitchen, then she said she had stepped out briefly. Then, under pressure, she admitted she had left the apartment entirely, leaving Cristian alone to supervise his siblings.
You're definitely home? Because I don't want to catch you in a lie. Because there's no reason to lie about something that you don't need to lie about. I'm going to ask you again. Were you home when this occurred?
Well, I had gone to the bank.
Okay, were you home when this occurred?
No.
Okay. So you weren't in the kitchen when this happened?
No.
Okay, so you screwed up when you said he called me. He called you on the phone. And you were at the bank? Who was with you?
I was by myself.
But Cristian's account complicated things even further, claiming that he fell from the 5'2" bunk bed ladder while climbing up.
And then I called my mom
And what'd you tell her?
that he got hit with that ladder climbing up.
And it was after this that he called his mom, while he tried to keep the baby safe.
And then what did she do when she came home?
She cleaned him, and then she went to the hospital. I cleaned him and changed his clothes.
Was she crying?
Mm-hmm.
So what time do you think you called her?
Like almost like 8 minutes after.
And how long did it take her to get home?
A couple of minutes.
But the investigators could sense that both of them were holding something back, and that she didn't call 911 immediately.
So when you got home, you saw knocked out, as you said, right? Knocked out in the bed. On the bottom bunk?
On the bottom bed.
Did you see anything knocked over in the room or any blood anywhere?
I saw a little bit of blood on the floor.
Okay. Where at on the floor?
Let's say like the stairs were here, and the blood was like on
Okay.
there.
So kind of in front of the stairs.
Mhm.
Okay. Did that worry you?
It did worry me, but it worried me more the fact that, you know, they're gonna think that I did it.
So you got on the computer?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
To check, like, you know, what causes unconsciousness and how long is somebody supposed to stay unconscious, and if they, you know, if they could just wake up from that.
I just don't understand. I understand you have a problem with DCF. You're thinking that they're going to take your kids away, but I don't understand why you didn't call 911. Safety's first.
I know safety first, but like I read online that unconsciousness happens when your brain shifts from position from a head injury.
But the tragic events of March 14th, 2011 were not isolated. The story of David's injuries began months before that fateful day. Earlier in January, just a couple of months before his death, David had been rushed to the hospital with a broken leg, an injury that Bianella explained as an accident at the apartment playground. She claimed that Cristian came rushing into the house, holding David in his arms, saying that David had fallen from the monkey bars. But there was a problem with her story. The apartment playground didn't have any monkey bars. She then told police that David had been jumping from swing to swing when he fell and broke his leg. But none of these stories fully explained how David had ended up with such a severe injury. It wasn't until Cristian was questioned that the real story began to surface. The 12-year-old initially told a different version, a version that would shock investigators. Cristian revealed that David's leg wasn't injured from a fall at all. Instead, he explained that he had been playing with David, attempting a yoga move, and pushed him too hard. And again, their mom wasn't around.
And did someone from Department of Children and Families contact you?
To my mom?
Yeah.
And us?
Yeah. And what did you tell them what happened?
That he fell off the monkey bars.
And it was at this point that the investigator knew that Bianella came up with the playground story just to cover up his son.
But that's not really what happened, is it?
What do you mean?
I'm asking you. I need you to be honest. Because you're only going to hurt yourself in the long run. Okay, that's not what happened, is it? Just like you weren't home today when it happened. That's not what happened, is it?
It was my son.
Mm-hmm. And what did he do?
He said he was wrestling.
She told the detective that she really didn't want DCF to take away his son from her, and that she didn't know Cristian couldn't break anyone's bones, so she waited for 2 days before taking him to the hospital while the boy's left leg was swollen and in serious pain. But one would think this yoga incident was a pure accident, but it wasn't.
And how did you do his legs so we can understand what happened?
Like this.
Oh, and then what else did you do with his little legs?
And like this. And that's it.
So you weren't trying to hurt him.
No.
It was an accident?
But I didn't know his bone was gonna break.
Yeah, I
Because
understand.
I was doing two.
You were doing
But my
it too?
bone didn't break.
Can you do that? Can you do that? That's what you were trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
Can you do it?
No.
So show me again what you do.
Like this.
Okay. Did you hear a snap or something?
Why, what do you mean, like a snap?
Yeah, when he broke his leg. Did you hear it snap?
Like a crack?
Did you hear Pop?
Well, sort of.
Yeah. And what happened then?
He started crying and then I stopped.
And soon enough, the detective would realize that this was actually a calculated revenge plan that no one saw coming. And after speaking with Cristian, detectives turned their attention to the apartment, where the story of what had happened was slowly being pieced together. Bloodstains on the carpet near the stairs, broken furniture, and what appeared to be marks on the walls painted a picture of a violent confrontation. In the bedroom shared by Cristian and his siblings, the detectives found more signs of a struggle. Blood spattered across the floor, a backpack left in haste, and disturbed bedding. The detectives moved cautiously through the scene, noting every detail, piecing together the fragments of evidence. But long before investigators ever stepped into that Jacksonville apartment, the foundation for this case had already been laid over many years through a cycle of instability, trauma, and missed intervention. Cristian Fernandez was born in January 1999, and from the moment he entered the world, his circumstances were profoundly abnormal. His mother, Bianella Susana, was only 12 years old at the time. She had become pregnant at 11 after being SA by an older individual connected to her family environment, an experience that shattered what little stability she had known as a child. As a young girl, she had lived with her grandmother, who provided structure, affection, and a sense of safety. But that stability ended abruptly when Bianella was taken from her grandmother and returned to the care of her biological mother, a woman who struggled with substance use, emotional volatility, and neglect. And when Cristian was just 2 years old, authorities found him wandering alone in a motel parking lot during the early morning hours, unsupervised and unclothed, while his caregiver, Bianella's mother, was intoxicated nearby. That incident triggered intervention from Child Protective Services and marked the beginning of long-term monitoring. And not long after, Bianella and Cristian entered the foster care system together, with Bianella still a minor herself. During their time in foster care, Bianella made visible efforts to improve her circumstances. She attended parenting classes, worked toward completing her education, and tried to demonstrate that she could provide for her son. She was deeply attached to Cristian and resisted attempts to separate them, insisting on remaining together despite her young age. However, the foster system offered limited continuity, and the pair moved between placements without long-term stability. Cristian, meanwhile, continued to experience trauma even while under state supervision. At one foster placement, he was housed with older children and was later reported to have been SA by other boys. Although Bianella intervened once she became aware, arranging for counseling and increased supervision, the damage had already been done. As Bianella aged out of foster care, she and Cristian transitioned into independent living. But the situation grew more complicated when Bianella married Luis Galarraga Blanco. Together, they had 3 children, including David. The household became crowded and tense, and Cristian's role shifted again. He went from being the center of his mother's attention to feeling sidelined as new responsibilities and pressures mounted. Reports later suggested that the family environment became increasingly volatile. In 2010, Cristian disclosed that his stepfather had punched him in the face, leading to swollen and red eyes that required medical treatment, including surgery to repair a torn retina. Authorities became involved, and before legal action could be completed, Luis took his own life. The incident occurred in the family home and in the presence of the children. After her husband's death, Bianella relocated the family to Jacksonville, hoping distance would bring relief. Instead, the move intensified her isolation. She struggled financially, relied heavily on Cristian to help manage the younger children, and became increasingly fearful of intervention from social services. The family remained on the radar of child welfare agencies, but follow-through was inconsistent, and support services failed to produce meaningful change. Only months before David's fatal injury, he had sustained a serious leg fracture while under Cristian's supervision, and while Bianella was not present. Multiple explanations were offered, and inconsistencies were documented, but no decisive action followed. The family remained intact, and the warning signs went unaddressed, and by early 2011, the household was under extreme strain. And it was that same dysfunction and extreme responsibility on Cristian that made Bianella leave him with David on the day of the incident. And whatever happened to David had happened way before he had been brought into the hospital. For hours, David laid in the apartment unresponsive while the day moved on around him. Decisions were delayed and help was not called. When Bianella returned home and found David unconscious, she did not call emergency services. She did not rush him to the hospital. Instead, she waited. She later told police that she was afraid of Child Protective Services, afraid of losing her children, and afraid of what authorities would think. So she chose to downplay the situation, convincing herself that David might wake up on his own. So she reportedly downloaded musics, listened to them, and then she searched online, looked up what it meant when someone was unconscious, how long it could last, and whether a head injury could resolve on its own. But David's condition did not change. Bianella later claimed she had tried calling a pediatrician but hung up when she was placed on hold. She said she was watching him, checking his breathing, and hoping for improvement. But investigators would later confirm that hours passed before she finally took him to the hospital. And even then, she did not call for emergency assistance. By the time David arrived at St. Luke's Hospital just after 5:30 p.m., nearly 8 hours had passed since he was first injured. And afterwards, during the interrogation, Cristian mentioned that perhaps David got the injuries when books fell on him, and he didn't fall off the bunk bed as initially claimed.
Tell me what really happened tonight.
I put him to carry books.
You put him to carry books?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what kind of books?
Like the books that we have on our bookshelves.
Are they big books or little books?
Like a bunch of skinny books.
So he was carrying them?
Mm-hmm.
Does he walk good at one cast?
I take pictures with one and normal works with the other.
Okay, so he had books in his arms?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
And then I fell on him
They fell on him as he was carrying?
as he was carrying them.
Where they fell on him at?
On his head.
How did they fall on his head if he was carrying?
But the detectives weren't convinced, so they pressed for more answers.
Okay. Well, this side of his head is really injured up with a lot of bruising and swelling.
Mm-hmm.
So, and his nose is really swelled up. So, it had something else happened tonight besides just books falling. So tell me about what else happened at college.
After that happened, I wasn't him anymore.
Okay, so he never fell off the bunk bed?
Mm.
No, okay. So, he never hit his head on the bed?
No.
So, did you do anything for him to make him hit his head?
What do you mean? Like, I pushed him
Yeah. Did you push him tonight?
to the bed?
No. Did you do anything for his head to hit anything tonight?
Well, we were just carrying books. And then it fell on him.
Right. And what else happened?
And then I took all the books away from him, and then he was sleeping.
At this point, Cristian wasn't ready to tell the truth, so the detective tried a different approach.
Did you push him down?
No.
What did you hit him with? Did you hit him with something on his head?
No.
So what happened? What happened to the side of his head?
I pushed him against a bookshelf.
Why'd you push him? Are you angry about something?
Yes.
What were you angry about?
Oh, my stepdad did to me.
Oh, what your stepdad did to you? Is that what you said? Why were you angry about that tonight?
Because I was thinking about it.
How many times did you push him into the shelf?
Twice.
How did you want to, like, say this is the shelf. Can you show me with the doll how you push him into the shelf?
By his head.
So, show me with the doll how you...
Like, push it in.
Oh, okay. So, you pushed him with your hand
Mm-hmm.
into the shelf. Is that all that happened tonight?
Mm-hmm.
He finally revealed the truth and the motives for his actions. He was taking revenge on David for what his dad did to him. Do you remember that Bianella had tried to cover him up when Cristian made the first attempt, resulting in the broken bones?
So your son did that in January. You lied. You told him to tell a lie to DCF, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you told him to lie. You lied. You lied to us. You lied to DCF. I'm just trying to, and I understand I understand why you lied in the beginning, because you don't want your son to get in trouble for something he didn't mean to do, I guess, correct? But then you told him to lie, and then you lied and just got all out of hand. And don't you think it'd just been easier just to tell DCF? My son did it. It was an accident.
No, because it wasn't easy for me to tell DCF, and look where I am now. It's not easy.
But even with this revelation, Cristian hadn't told the whole truth. Because how then was the blood found everywhere?
So how did all the blood get everywhere in the room?
Because when I was dragging him to his bed,
So you dragged him to the bed?
well, I actually carried him
Okay. To what bed?
to my brother's bed.
The bottom bunk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you carried him to the bottom bunk, and where was he bleeding from?
From his lungs.
Anywhere else?
And like his mouth.
His mouth is bleeding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And when the detectives broke the news to her that Cristian hadn't fallen off the bunk, she couldn't believe it.
This wasn't an accident. Cristian did it.
What do you... How did you do it?
He got mad at her and took her by the head and smacked twice into the bookshelf.
Did he cry?
Yeah,
First time.
alright.
And then you pushed him again.
And then he stopped crying.
And he said the first time he hit it, he was crying, and the second time he did it, out and unconscious. And that's when he carried her to the bed, and that's when he knew that he did something really bad. And he said he lied to you about it. So I know you didn't know. I know you didn't know.
And please, it should be noted that Cristian's right was read to him before his interrogation began.
What this says is this is your constitutional rights, okay? And this is what I'm going to read it to you, okay? It says, you have the following rights under the United States Constitution. The first one says you do not have to make a statement or say anything. Do you understand what that means, Christian?
Yeah. No.
Okay. This means you don't have to talk to me when I talk to you. And you don't have to tell me anything, and you don't have to say anything, but you can say something. It just tells you that you don't have to. Do you understand what that means? So I'll read it again. You do not have to make a statement or say anything. So that means you don't have to talk to me, but I want you to talk to me, but you don't have to talk to me. Okay? Okay. So you understand what that means? Okay. The next one says anything you say can be used against you in court. Do you know what that means? Okay, that means if anything that you tell me today, it can come back up later in court. Okay? Do you understand what that means?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes? I need you to say yes. Okay. The next one says, you have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you make a statement or before any questions are asked of you, and to have the lawyer with you during any questioning. Which that means is you can have a lawyer with you while I talk to you, but you don't have to. It says that you have that right, that you can have one. Do you understand what that means?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next one says, if you can afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed for you for any questioning if you wish. That means if you don't have money for a lawyer, which I know you're 12, so that would be your mom, responsibility to get a lawyer for you. If you don't have the money for one, that we will give you one. Do you understand what that means? Okay. The last one says, if you do answer questions, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time and consult the lawyer. That means while you're talking to me, you can stop at any time, okay, and ask for a lawyer. Do you understand what that means? Okay. I just wanted to explain it to you to where you understood it, okay? Okay.
But back at the hospital, David remained on life support. Doctors monitored his condition closely, but there were no signs of improvement. The swelling in his brain continued. His skull was fractured, his neck was held in a protective brace, and his nose was broken and covered in blood. On top of these injuries, his right forearm was injured, possibly fractured, and he had swelling and redness in both eyes, with a noticeable bruise under his left eye. A contusion was found on his right hip, a hematoma above his right ear, and a bruise on the right side of his forehead. Despite treatment, David never regained consciousness. The machines kept him breathing, but they could not reverse what had already occurred. On March 16th, 2011, 2 days after he was brought in, doctors determined that there was nothing more they could do, and with no chance of recovery, the decision was made to remove him from life support. David died that day. An autopsy later ruled his death a homicide caused by blunt force trauma to the head, and medical experts stated that earlier intervention might have changed the outcome. Cristian was taken into custody shortly after David's death. Despite being only 12 years old, he was not processed as a typical juvenile offender. Florida law allowed prosecutors to charge a child of any age as an adult in cases involving the most serious offenses, and the decision was made to do exactly that. Cristian was charged with first-degree murder, making him the youngest person in Duval County history to face that charge. The announcement sent shockwaves through the community. Some saw it as accountability. Others saw it as a system punishing a child who had been failed long before that day. The question was no longer just what Cristian did, but whether a child shaped by years of neglect, violence, and responsibility beyond his age could truly be treated as an adult under the law. 2 weeks later, Bianella was arrested. She was charged with aggravated manslaughter for failing to seek medical care for David in the critical hours after his injury. Prosecutors pointed to the delays, the internet searches, and the decision to wait instead of calling for help, arguing that her inaction directly contributed to David's death. Unlike Cristian, her case moved quickly. She eventually pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 years in prison, though much of that sentence was suspended. The judge credited her for time already served and ordered probation, along with mandatory time in domestic violence shelters and transitional housing. Public reaction intensified as both cases moved forward. Thousands of people signed petitions calling for Cristian to be tried as a juvenile instead of an adult. Letters poured in from around the world, many arguing that incarceration in adult prison would not serve justice, rehabilitation, or public safety. Others believed the severity of the crime demanded the harshest response available, regardless of Cristian's age or background. As the legal battle continued, key rulings shifted the direction of the case. A judge ruled that portions of Cristian's police interrogation were inadmissible, concluding that he could not have fully understood his rights at the time. Then, in 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that mandatory life sentences without parole for juveniles were unconstitutional, creating uncertainty about what punishment Cristian could legally face if convicted as charged. With those changes, the case took a turn. In 2013, prosecutors and defense attorneys reached a plea agreement. Cristian pleaded guilty to manslaughter and aggravated battery, avoiding a trial that could have sent him to adult prison for decades. Instead, he received juvenile sanctions and was committed to a juvenile detention facility where he would remain until his release as an adult. Cristian spent 7 years in custody, and during that time, he continued his education and participated in therapy programs focused on trauma and behavioral rehabilitation. Those who worked with him later reported that he showed signs of growth and remorse, though the weight of what he had done never disappeared. By the time Cristian was released in 2018, the legal chapter of the case was largely over, but the moral questions remained unresolved. A child had died, another child had been charged as an adult, and a mother had failed both of them in different ways. But the case left behind a deeper reckoning about responsibility, punishment, and whether intervention earlier in that family's history could have prevented everything that followed. What do you think? And where does responsibility truly begin in a case like this? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you think covering cases like this are important, then you should check out this case where another 13-year-old boy unalived his sister just to spite his mom.